Hello, and yeah, this is a different intro to what I normally do, but this is a really, really special podcast for me. The guest today, Randy Santel, I've been a big fan of for years, probably since about 2013. So you look at it kind of like 8 years. And throughout this podcast, we're going to kind of talk about his journey, his channel, his upcoming plans, and we're going to also discuss kind of mental health side of things as we always do as well. So yeah, I hope you really enjoyed the podcast. Make sure to like and subscribe as well, and comment if you have any guests or ideas for the future. But yeah, I hope you really enjoy it.
Are we audio and video or just audio?
Audio and video.
Okay, sounds good.
So here we are. So this is the 9th podcast, and today we've got Randy Santel on. So what I'll do is I'll kind of let Randy take the reins and kind of let everyone know what kind of you're famous for, and kind of the things that they could find out on your channel, Randy.
All right. Well, sounds good. Thanks for having me on.
No worries. So kind of what if someone was to search for you kind of on YouTube, what would they find? What are you most known for?
Well, for the past 11 years now, I started back in March 2010, but I do food challenges, kind of like what somebody might have seen on the show Man versus Food that was popular. I know in the United States, it's the Travel Channel, but is it called The Dave or something in the UK?
Yeah,
I don't remember.
Yeah, that's the one, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm a professional eater. I started out, my first career was in construction management. I retired from that in 2013 to pursue all of my goals with YouTube and social media and stuff like that. I wanted to just travel all around the world, exercising and eating and doing food challenges. And I've been able to kind of make it into a career, which has been awesome. But I do food challenges. I've got 974 food challenge wins in all 50 states and then 37 countries. So I've got a couple years left. I'm hoping to get back to the UK for sure. Probably not this year, but definitely hoping for 2022 to meet back up with my friend Adam or Beards Meets Food, and then a couple other guys over there. But yeah, just going to keep on going. And then I'm actually in the process of becoming a registered dietitian in the United States. So once I am a dietitian, I'll be close to retiring from professional eating, and then I'll convert all my YouTube, my Facebook page, all my social media over to helping people better understand nutrition and weight management.
Yeah, amazing. So kind of taking it back to kind of the start and your childhood, what was kind of your dream career, obviously, before you got into like the construction and the food challenges? What was kind of your ideal path when you were younger?
Kind of when I was an Eagle Scout. I got that when I was 16 in Boy Scouting, and for a long time just through that, and then I guess because my dad did it too, but I kind of just wanted to be in construction, which is kind of what led me to my first degree, construction management. I mean, I wanted to be an athlete like a lot of guys do, but I kind of knew that I didn't really have the speed, and I mean, I had the work ethic and everything, but I didn't really have the speed and I guess the God-given ability to be a paid professional athlete or whatnot. But it's kind of cool though, because I mean, I consider professional eating, competitive eating a sport. So I mean, technically, you can call me a professional athlete, but it's definitely different than basketball, football, or anything like
that. Great. And kind of obviously you spoke about your bodybuilding and stuff, and you went obviously the competition. So was that something that maybe when you were kind of younger that you really drive towards with the work ethic, like you said? Was that something you wanted to tick off?
Yeah, I've always had the work ethic, and I've always kind of known I was able to eat. But what you had mentioned, the competition, back in 2010, or really before that, I retired from college football. I played for 3 years in university, and I retired from that as an offensive lineman, weighing, I don't know what it is in kilo or stone, but around 320 pounds. So I was a big boy, smaller than I am right now, which is funny. But I always kind of, anybody that's always been big, they always kind of have that wonder what it would be like to have a six pack and be thin and all that kind of stuff, all ripped up. And that was kind of going through me. And I was single at the time, and I found out about this body transformation competition sponsored by Men's Health magazine, which I know they have that in the UK, but the United States. But that, and then the television show or series Spartacus, Blood and Sand was the first one. I know that they had that over there too. But I ended up competing. I had about 8 weeks to transform into the best body I could and ended up winning. So that was pretty neat. It was my first time overseas. as part of the trip package for winning, I got a trip to Auckland, New Zealand with my buddy Zach, and we were on the set of Spartacus for a week. And then on the final day, I got to dress up as a gladiator and be an extra in one of the scenes on the third episode of Gods of the Arena, which was the prequel to Spartacus Blood and Sand. So that was pretty neat. And then to celebrate, my buddy actually, like 2 weeks prior to the diet and exercise competition ending and before taking the final photos, he invited me as a way to treat ourselves to we were going to compete and do my first food challenge ever, the 28-inch Pointersaurus pizza challenge, which was 11 pounds or 5 kilos. We had an hour to finish that with 2 meat toppings, and we ended up doing it. We won in about 48 minutes, and I knew I was all right at eating because we pretty much split the pizza. I mean, if anything, I ate a little bit more, but it was pretty even. But after that, I had some ice cream. I had a little bit of dinner with my family that night. And then I looked into food challenges, and pretty much a month later, I tried another one. It was an 18-inch deep dish pizza, and I was the first to win that out of like 120 people had failed. And I got a check for $450 for that. And then everything just kind of went from there.
Yeah, I was going to say, so when you did that first food challenge, you think it was going to be kind of a one-off thing? And then when you did it, did it kind of trigger your mind to think, oh, this is something I could kind of venture into?
Yeah, it was just something. I mean, I've always been an athlete. I've always been kind of competitive. And I knew that there wasn't really anything that I had going on that was going to keep me inspired to keep on working out and exercising and dieting like I was for that body transformation contest. So it was kind of like a fun way to keep myself motivated to keep on trying these food challenges because I enjoyed them. But also, too, I knew that if I didn't work out and exercise, but kept on doing the food challenges, I would get big. So it was kind of like a game of working the weekdays in my construction career and then just being a weekend warrior, doing all the food challenges I could on weekends, traveling sometimes to different nearby cities with challenges. And it was just kind of a fun thing to do.
Yeah. And so kind of going on, we'll talk about kind of where you're at now with the challenges. Now, I'm wondering if you could go through kind of a routine before you kind of have a challenge upcoming, because I know sometimes it might be slightly different when you're on like a tour, when you do like the kind of 2 months straight, but what would be your
it's
ideal
definitely
preparation?
different. In all of my tips and my advice, strategy advice, everything to win before you begin. That's kind of our motto with foodchallenges.com. But in 2014, I created the website foodchallenges.com with media help from my friend who still does half the editing for us, Magic Mitch Dombrowski. He's gone on a lot of the bigger tours with me, including ones to the UK and other places. But we did that. It's got over 100 articles that helps people better understand everything that goes into food challenges, how to train, how to prepare, and stuff like that. But back in 2010, 11, 12, 13, when I was still in construction, I was just doing food challenges on weekends. So there was definitely different preparation than what I do now, because when I do tours now, and I pretty much do like 6 to 7 food challenges a week. So there's no real training for those. It's just that every food challenge I do kind of keeps my stomach expanded and my body ready for the next one the next day. So if I do a challenge on a Thursday, I usually do weekdays at like 6 o'clock p.m. for people to be able to get off work and come to the challenge. The next one I'll probably do is about 23, 24 hours later, hopefully 6 again the next evening. And then my body will just be it's not really about being trained. It's more about being empty. During all the hours before, I'm not really fat. I'm kind of fasting, just drinking a lot of water, maybe coffee in the morning, getting whatever exercise I can while still doing everything I need to do for my social media. But back in the day, and this is kind of what's on foodchallenges.com, because there's not really anybody else that tours for very long lengths of time. But I would go, let's say I was doing a challenge on like Friday and Saturday, or maybe Friday and Sunday, or whatever I was able to do that weekend, sometimes all 3 days. But I would go to an all-you-can-eat salad bar at a grocery store near my house in Kansas City, Missouri, where I was living. Or really, I guess I was over on the Kansas side at that time. But I would just maximize my stomach and just eat as much as I could. And then the next day, I would just not eat and I would fast. And you kind of want to have a max out meal like 20 to 24 hours before a challenge. So, but then you still want to drink water, stay hydrated, because if you don't do that, you'll feel lethargic and not very energetic for your challenge. But you, of course, want to be empty.
Yeah, and I'm wondering, because obviously, if it's not sometimes on a challenge, if it's a dual one, you won't have your headphones in. But I'm wondering what kind of music you have blasting when you're in the zone.
Yeah, it's actually been a couple of years since I wore the headphones. Now that we have so many people that attend our events, I feel that the headphones is kind of a barrier between myself and them. And I want people to feel, if they come to be interactive, to be part of everything, feel free to cheer and stuff. And if I'm wearing headphones, it's less likely that people are gonna feel it involved and want to be part of it all. So, but yeah, for the first years, especially when I was just doing food challenges, with just me and my camera, maybe a few friends or family or whatnot, people at the restaurant watching. I love girly pop music. So my favorite singer is Kesha. She doesn't sing much these days. Love the song, love a lot of her songs. My favorite song ever, though, is Miley Cyrus's "Party in the USA." Just the rhythm to that and everything with it. But then there's a whole lot of other girly pop songs. I love Avril Lavigne, but then there's also some Eminem to man it up. We got Rihanna, Dixie Chicks, Wide Open Spaces. I've kind of had the same playlist ever since I started. I never really changed.
And so I'm trying to think, looking back, is there any challenges that really stand out as kind of a big win in your head that you might kind of not anticipated you might finish it?
Oh yeah, yeah, that happens more often than not. Sometimes my body's just not feeling that good, and I've got a big challenge coming up, and not exactly confident that I'm going to dominate. But sometimes my body, my stomach just opens up, and my body lets me fit it all. Yeah, there's definitely. I'd say that it happened a couple times in 2020. Not so much this year yet during our Florida tour, but yeah, there were times where I really didn't think I was going to win, but I would just keep on pushing myself to see what I could do, and thankfully before time expired, I was able to fit it. And those are challenges usually around, let's say, 7 to 8 pounds. With how big I am, I can't really do challenges bigger than 8 pounds unless they're with like special foods that are easier to eat more of.
Yeah, and I was going to say, is there any preference of a challenge that you might go into, like say a burger or something like that?
I love pizza. Pizza's always good. I enjoy burritos, anything with variety. There's not really many, but I love specialty hot dogs with a lot of toppings, chili dogs, anything like that. Tacos are good. All breakfast foods other than pancakes are great. Anything that's carb heavy can be hard, unless it's like potatoes and a breakfast omelet and stuff like that. The hardest stuff is the foods that are really chewy, like a pizza with a very thick crust, or if there's a whole big old slab of meat, whether it's a steak, a burger, or whatnot, if that's overcooked, that can be rough too.
Yeah, and do you have
The
any
ice cream challenges are fun, but the ones that are loaded with toppings, those can be real hard.
Yeah,
That sugar will get to you after a while.
And I'm thinking, kind of, whenever you fail a challenge, do you have any in mind that you really want to retry in the upcoming years?
Oh yeah, yeah. I lost I think 12 in 2019. I lost 6 last year. I've lost 3 so far this year. Almost all those I want to rematch. So what I'm going to do is I'm about to start a dietetic internship where I've got to be pretty much in Milwaukee, Wisconsin from August of this year all the way until about May of 2022. So during that time, we're not going to have as many food challenge videos. I will have more like nutrition related videos, but since I won't be doing all the food challenges, I'll have a lot more time not really traveling other than when I'm doing all the school stuff and everything. I'll be exercising a lot more, and I'm going to get my weight down to probably about, let's say, 250 pounds. So that's like 70 pounds lower than, that's more than that, than what I am now. But once I do that, I'll be thinner. It's called the belt of fat theory in competitive eating. The bigger your midsection is, the more fat you have around your waist, the more that fat restricts all your organs from being able to move around and move around so your stomach can expand and fit more in it. So once I actually get rid of all the fat around my waist, I'll have a higher eating capacity. And then I'm going to go back to, I'm going to call it an ego tour. I'm going to go back to a lot of the restaurants I've lost at and rematch those challenges and get the victories.
Yeah, and so I was thinking when I was doing the questions and stuff, I was wondering, do you feel any nerves ahead of any challenges? Because obviously you've done so many now. Do you have any nerves up coming up them
Yeah,
filming?
I mean, I think I'm more nervous sometimes about all the stuff I have to say rather than the food itself.
Yeah.
I mean, I know I've done enough food challenges to know what's a lot, what's enough, what's going to be easy based on how my body's feeling or what I ate the day before. But sometimes if there is a restaurant that's hard to pronounce, I'm in a city that's hard to pronounce, or there's just a challenge with a whole bunch of different components to it where I have to remember a lot of things, I tend to get more nervous about those because we have so many people come into our events now, and that's of course a great thing, but I don't really get too much time to really practice what I'm going to say beforehand or anything like that. It's more so just while I'm filming the food being made, I just have to cram as much of the pronunciation, the food titles, menu names, or whatnot, everything I need to do and include in the intro. I have to just cram that in my head at the last minute. So sometimes that can be rough and make me a little bit nervous, but it's actually funny. I get more nervous or I mess up more often when there's fewer people. When there's a lot of people, I usually tend to just dominate and do really well in one time.
Yeah. So with the kind of challenges, and obviously you've mentioned you've got a couple of years left, is the kind of figure you might want to get to and wins, or is it just going to be kind of what it falls on?
Yeah, I'm thinking once I get to 1,000, which is going to happen in like a month or so. There's not really any number I need to get to. It's more about I do want to have wins in 50 countries and then in all of the major states and provinces in Canada and Australia. I've already gotten food challenge wins in all 50 United States, so that's awesome. But pretty much I'm going to keep on doing the food challenges and keep the channel going with food challenges until it's time to switch over everything to being a social media dietitian and doing all the stuff that I want to do with that. Because once I become a dietitian, I'll be the #1 followed dietitian in the world, as far as in the United States goes. I think the world, but I'm not 100% on that. But there'll be a lot of opportunity with that, and I'm going to be hurting myself if I try to do food challenges while being a dietitian. So once I become a dietitian, soon after that, I'll probably do my final retirement tour.
Yeah, and I'm kind of thinking with the YouTube channel, when did you think about starting that up? Obviously, you'd mentioned you'd started the challenges. When did it kind of click that you wanted to upload them onto social media?
Actually, that was kind of all by accident. Kind of just like with the doing the food challenges. My cousin just happened to be off the day that my buddy Dan and I were going to do the pizza challenge, and he was looking for something to do, and he was laughing that we were going to go do this pizza challenge. So he kind of just said, "Hey, if you idiots are going to do this, I'll bring a camera that my family has and I'll film it." And he ended up coming with me, which thank goodness, because he drove me home after that. That was a lot of pizza. I wasn't feeling that great. Still was able to eat ice cream, but of course wasn't feeling that good. So he drove home, but then he produced a video out of all the footage that he took that day back in 2010, and then he sent it to me, and I created a YouTube channel and put it on there, and some people watched, and I decided to do another challenge. And I figured since the first challenge was on video, I might as well video the second. So I got on, we have Craigslist here. I don't know if you guys have it there, but I got on there and got a camera for like $200, I think, just some like 720p HD camcorder. And I filmed it, my challenge that I was doing. And then I sent that footage to my cousin Patrick again, and he did a video. And then I knew that I wanted to keep on going with it. And I found somebody to help me edit videos 3, 4, and 5. And then I taught myself how to do it all after that until Magic Mitch Dombrowski joined in March 2013.
And have you always been someone who's kind of confident presenting, or did that just kind of obviously come with obviously you're going to do the videos, or did you feel confident at the start?
Let's see. That is a very good question. I would say, I mean, a lot of the video introductions I was doing in the beginning were all at my house. So I was in the comfort of my own house, and I could, if I didn't like how I sounded or how I was looking that day, I could just refilm it. Or I was doing some voiceovers then too. So that kind of, I guess, gave me an in as far as practice, so that when I actually started going to restaurants, because really when I was doing all the editing, I could edit it however I wanted. But once Mitch was there and he took over the editing, I pretty much had to film everything at the restaurant. So there was no filming outside of the restaurant. So I wasn't going to just film stuff at my house for him to add into the videos. Way too complicated. So I pretty much from then on in 2013 was just trying to, once I leave a restaurant, all my videoing is done. I just have to send the files to Mitch, and we've done that ever since. In 2016, when I moved back from Missouri State University again to start dietetics classes to become a dietitian, we hired my now friend, of course. His name's Arthur Davis. He's been doing half the editing for quite a while now. I think since 2019, but he started with us in 2016. So I hate video editing. I'm very happy that I have them two to do it. They both do a great job.
And kind of YouTube, do you think it's changed as a platform, and have you had to cater towards that kind of with your videos? Or have you kept it the same throughout since you've been making them?
Well, actually, I know there's been a lot of changes for a lot of channels, but we've always since the beginning done family friendly content. So like, I mean, even if I do get sick in a video, we don't include that. I don't really do much cursing or anything to the point where we didn't ever have to worry about videos getting demonetized or anything like that. So everything's been pretty straightforward for us. But not only do we have YouTube, we also have more people following on Facebook. So that's pretty neat. So that helps a lot. But it can be hard to manage both communities. More than 1.4 million on Facebook, and then almost 3 now on YouTube.
Yeah, that it is amazing. I'd noted down. I've got kind of notes there, and when I first started following you, I think it was about 2014. So I think you were on about. I can't think of the figure, but obviously it wasn't as high as it is now. And
oh no, I think it was under 100,000.
Yeah, I think it might have been about 70,000. So when I started watching, and I'm kind of thinking, when did it really take off? Because obviously it has been quite a few years, but was there kind of a growth that really happened?
Well, there's never really been anything where my graph just looks like this.
Yeah.
It's always been just kind of slow and steady because we haven't really gotten too crazy with the videos. We've always been consistent. Anybody that gets on our channel, they know that a food challenge video is coming, unless I've said otherwise, announced some kind of special series or something like that. The big thing, and I knew that I was under 100,000 or whatever when you said 2014, because the big thing that really, I guess I credit to help it got our YouTube channel kind of rolling a little bit stronger and faster was in 2015. I'm sure you've watched it, but that Vice documentary by their Munchies team of myself in London, England, and then Portsmouth down in Southern England. They filmed and made it was like an 18.5-minute documentary. There's a hook at the end of that, and it really drives people to the channels that end up stumbling upon that video. So it's got over 1 million views now. I think that video uploading, I mean, it didn't climb in views quickly either, like some of the other videos on that channel. But a lot of the people that view that, if they don't already know of us, they go check out our videos. So that's pretty neat.
Yeah, and I was thinking of like you said, you mentioned earlier, it's like a family-friendly kind of content that you've always wanted to make. And I know it's trying to be quite a positive community. So I'm wondering for anyone kind of, when they watch your videos, how do you kind of deal with, obviously, like if there's kind of hate comments or trolls? I know you go back to them with kind of sometimes like a funny manner. So I'm wondering how you kind of deal with that aspect of YouTube and Facebook.
Yeah, I try to be sarcastic when I can. I'll throw in a God bless you too every now and then or something. I mean, I don't really take to heart what people say that I have no idea who they are. I mean, if somebody's writing some nonsense that with a screen name you don't even know who the heck they are or where they're from or whatnot. I mean, I personally don't really take too much offense to that. I mean, I signed before I go on tours. I know that I'm going to gain weight. I know that there's going to be comments coming. I mean, negativity it's really a waste of their time. So, I mean, I still comment, and it's a productive thing for me because I reach out to them and thank them for watching, and usually if they were having a bad day and I respond kindly, they'll know that they need to, that it'll change their way of thinking moving forward. Or else, I mean, if they're going to continue to be a jerk and rude, then I fed them and they'll keep on coming back. So, I mean, even negative attention in that regard is still okay. I mean, in reality, we've got a couple trolls that like comment poorly on like every video, or at least 90%. But I mean, those people watch more videos than some of our big supporters that only watch maybe one or two a week rather than all three. So it's kind of it's a double-edged sword.
And it's
YouTube monetization doesn't take away for thumbs downs.
Yeah, exactly. So they might think it's doing you harm, but realistically, it's another view added onto the video. So
yeah, in a sense, I mean, you don't really want all the negative attention, but attention is attention at a certain level.
Yeah, and
all the things they could be doing, they decided to spend some time bashing you. So I mean,
it's a good outlook to have as well, really, with that. And I think going back to them as well, it shows your personality as a person as well, rather than just off the camera. And I'm thinking, is the persona kind of Randy Santel who does the videos? Is it the same person off the camera as well?
You know what? I actually get that a lot. That's a big comment that I get at events. Is that the guy at the event is the same that that the people watch on the videos. So I mean, and it makes it a lot easier. I don't really have there's not really a different me on the video than just seeing me in person. So
yeah, that's amazing.
Makes life a lot easier. There's not really an on and off button. I'm always on.
And I'm thinking kind of for the channel, you've obviously mentioned that you're going to push into a different avenue with your social media platforms in a few years' time. But is there anything upcoming? Like you mentioned tours, what's kind of your next kind of tour that you're going to branch off to?
I'm going to start posting about Sexification 2021, and Sexification for everybody listening is just what I kind of call my diets, where I lose a bunch of weight. I had a Sexification 2020 at the start of 2020, where I lost like 70 pounds in 12 weeks. So it's going to be something like that starting in August. I'm hoping to definitely be under 300 pounds by Christmas. And then I'll just keep on working down from there with cycling and all that. But along the way, I'll document my progress, keep the channels going in addition to having the food challenge videos. I'm not really sure how it's all going to go, but then I know once I'm done with my internship and I can start traveling again, I'll probably take a semester off from college. I won't finish my master's degree right away. I probably won't take a test to become a dietitian right away either. But I will. I mean, we haven't been able to go overseas, so I'm definitely going to get it. We're going to do a Canada tour, hopefully the whole west to east, do the UK trip, Australia, and then there's 13 more new countries I still need to get to too. So, and then I want to get to a couple places in the United States as well. So, yeah, there's definitely no slowing down to start a family soon. Full speed ahead.
And I'm wondering, how do you kind of find out about the challenges? Is it kind of subscribers messaging you, or is there kind of a certain way you find them?
Yeah, regarding existing food challenges, yeah, I've got a lot of our subscribers will send me a Facebook message or whatnot to let me know about challenges around them. But I also have a team that helps restaurants create food challenges too. So we just contact restaurants where I'm wanting to go and see who's interested in starting one. So there's kind of a market for that, which is nice.
Great. And every time I do kind of a podcast, we lean into the section of kind of, obviously it's been quite a crazy last year from March, especially in the UK. And one of the sections we go through is just speaking about kind of mental health and making sure that it's something that is talked about it as much as possible. And it's the reason that I started this podcast. I know everyone hears it, whoever listens, but so basically at the kind of the end of 2018, 19, I was losing my hair and I was really finding a lot of self-confidence, and I was losing kind of who I was. And I just kind of, as a lot of people do, I just kind of shied away from everything, and I really said no to all the opportunities. And I'm wondering, as a platform and as a channel, is there anything that maybe you don't have to go into detail about what you've experienced, but kind of ways that maybe help you if you've ever felt kind of low or sad?
Whew, that is a good question. I mean, I'd say the low point of I have my fat days every now and then where I just don't feel good. But I mean, yeah, I mean, if I didn't do food challenges, I know what I would look like or what I'd be close to looking like, and I'm excited for that. I'll be looking like that and feeling like it. More importantly, feeling like it. Beginning of 2021 or 2022, once I have a lot of time to diet and exercise. But I mean, since 2012, I've always had a purpose of everything I'm wanting to do, of building these food challenges, doing everything, growing my social media community for everything I'm wanting to do as a dietitian to help people with nutrition and weight management. And then I've always just kind of, I guess, assumed that if I don't do it, nobody else will. So I've always had kind of a purpose, a reason to get out of bed. I know once I'm a dietitian, my first book will come out. That's going to have a phone app and a whole bunch of other stuff with it. So no, I mean, I've never really, and plus too, we haven't had it as bad in the United States.
Yeah.
I mean, we had to, I mean, call it a lockdown, but we were never really locked down. I've always been able to leave the house. So I had to stay put. I had to cancel a tour we were going to do last year. I had to stay home from April but I mean, every state has different rules here. Like we were just in Florida for 2 months, so I was able to travel all around with Katina, eats kilos, doing food challenges there. Last June on my birthday, I started off my 2020 touring, and we pretty much just stayed to the southeast because a lot of those states were open enough for me to do food challenges to keep on filming. It wasn't anything where like the whole country was locked down. You just have to within the United States, you just have to find what's open. So that's been nice.
Yeah, and I'm thinking kind of as a mechanism, if you've got anything, do you specifically speak to anyone? Maybe if you've got someone on your mind, like people have said either friends or the parents, kind of, would you have someone who you might have close to if you had something like maybe discuss that was personal?
That's actually a good question. And no, I've never really, let's see, I've been single since 2012 and I love myself. So I've always, I mean, my mom, anytime I'm dating somebody, my mom and dad, if they ever meet him, they make sure to let them know and make sure that they're aware that Randy is his own biggest fan. So I mean, and I always, there's never a time where I have nothing to do. So like after we get done with this podcast, I've got tons to do to get ready for my next tour, to do for the website that we just had go live today, my new Randy site. So I mean, to an extent, I've always got so much that I want to do and get done that I never really have time to dwell. I know one of the big things, and I guess this was, if I don't really actually talk too much about mental health, just because I'm not too experienced with it. I'm never really too down, and if I am, it only lasts like a night. I'll go to bed and feel better the next day. But I mean, my thing, and I had to have this talk with my mom and a few of my friends once all the COVID stuff happened. I haven't watched the news. I haven't really followed TV since I would say 2008. So I'm not a TV watcher. I never listen or watch the news, just because a lot of it's nonsense. But I mean, in regarding comments we get on our social media, people always ask about how COVID and stuff is, and I always tell them, oh, it's terrible if you watch the news, but if you don't, it's all fine. And I mean, I haven't been wrong yet. We've had zero issues. I've been doing food challenges publicly since June of 2020, just after a few months off, and I've never had one single issue with COVID or anything. So we've always just been full speed ahead, doing whatever guidelines we need to do to keep everybody safe and stuff like that. But yeah, no, I just keep my head moving forward on everything that I'm doing myself, and I don't really worry about biased news and all that. That's kind of in its way meant to drag you down.
Yeah, and that's actually a really good point that you brought up about having things to look forward to and things to plan for. Because it can, like you say, work as a coping mechanism to kind of to keep your mind ticking over rather than thinking about certain things.
Or even when I was doing the body transformation contest, I mean, it sucked have that diet and weight loss or all the exercise and stuff I was doing. But I mean, that was one of the cool things with the pizza challenge. My buddy invited me to do that, and it was kind of like a motivator that work real hard for the rest of the week or through the 2 weeks or whatever it was left. Take my final photos, and then we get to have fun afterwards. So yeah, having something to look forward to is nice.
Yeah, definitely.
You just got to make sure that it's a healthy thing you're looking forward to.
I agree.
There's a lot of things you can look forward to that aren't necessarily good long-term decisions for you.
I've got kind of two topics that I asked kind of the people who follow the podcast, just as a kind of a guide. We always got two things that people want to speak about, and these two can link really well to you because obviously you've mentioned about your body transformation and stuff. And the first one that people want to kind of talk about on the podcast is in the quotes, pushing ourselves outside of the comfort zone and kind of making that leap. And I'm wondering if there's been any moments where you've kind of pushed yourself out of your comfort zone.
I mean, life's different for me. I'm a 6'5" guy. That's mostly for the many years I've always been bigger. So I mean, life would be a lot different for me if I was a 5'2" pretty blonde, or a smaller guy or something. I mean, my buddy Mitch, he's like 6'2", 6'3", whatever he is. But I mean, we've walked right through the middle of not the best parts after bars closed in Newcastle and Edinburgh and Glasgow and stuff like that. And I mean, we've never once worried about being knifed or robbed. Or that's the funny thing about being in the UK. Every time you say you're going to somewhere new or some other city, no matter where you're going, oh, you better watch out, you'll get stabbed. Oh, you're going to get pickpocketed. Never once have ever worried about anything like that. And knock on wood, because it's going to happen next time I'm there. But no, I mean, I when I get in a Lyft or an Uber or whatnot, I've never worried about anything. But that what all that is tying into is that I've stayed. I mean, I'm a pretty trusting person, unless there's a reason not to trust. So I've probably stayed in like 300 different people's and families' houses just over the years of all my traveling. People who I had never met before, just people that offered me their home, a place to stay, or something like that. I mean, like I said, if it was different, it would be kind of a scary thing to do. But I would say that kind of opened up a little bit. I mean, I don't think about it now, but I'm sure I did more earlier on, like staying in 32-person hostels and stuff like that. I'm sure I was probably less secure during my early years than I am now. So I would say that that's a good example.
Yeah, and do you have any advice for anyone who really does want to kind of push themselves, and is there any advice that you could maybe give them?
Let's see. I mean, sometimes you just got to pull a cool runnings and just talk to yourself in the mirror and don't give yourself time to talk yourself out of it. I think it's Mel Robbins has a whole thing about people that just, it's hard for them to get out of bed. Just count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and before you get to 5, just make sure you're out of bed. Don't let yourself talk yourself out of it is the big thing. I mean, when I first started, when I went to retire from construction, I was leaving like quite a bit of money. Nothing compared to how we're doing now. But I mean, I spent like, let's see, from 2013, no, really, let's say 2014, 15, 16, 17, 18. I mean, I was living on basically nothing, definitely under the poverty level as far as income. I was able to make it with everything I'm doing because my mom and dad let me stay at the house and work in the basement from 2015 to mid 2016. I've never really been into, well, I guess at one time I was, but I'm more of a minimalist at heart. And when you're a minimalist, you're not really attached to things. So that's always been nice for me. I don't judge my success based on the car I have or what my watch looks like or anything like that. It's more about experiences and all that. It's when you're comparing yourself to others, and the stuff you have versus other people and what they have, that can really get bad because it's like a game you can't win. You can very easily find somebody with more.
Yeah, yeah, and I always say that not everyone's path's different anyway. So just because someone has a house at the age of 22, everyone's different. Everyone's got some different reasons.
Yeah, I mean, hell, a lot of people it was given it to them, either in a death or some kind of inheritance. And that's one thing is some people look down upon people that have been given a whole lot their whole life. But yeah, I mean, there's some that just accept it and don't really do much with it. But then there's also people that were fortunate that push themselves hard to keep getting more and moving forward. So yeah, it's definitely like you're saying, everybody's got their own story.
Yeah, and this second one, I think this fits really into kind of what you've really been pushing. Is the second one's kind of body confidence and society's expectations. So I'm kind of thinking if you had someone's advice, maybe that weren't feeling too good about maybe how they looked or how they're feeling about themselves, is there any advice that you can maybe give them?
Go do something. So I would say that's it. I mean, there's no real value in scrolling through Instagram and looking at bodies of other people and all that. I mean, go exercise, go walk and get outside, do whatever. Just doing something, no matter how big it is that first step, and then you can go on from there. But there's definitely there's no value in having a pity party.
Yeah, and I think it's quite, with weight and stuff, it's quite hard because you can lose it, but like you say, you've got to put that work in. But when you're in that cycle of feeling kind of bad about yourself, it is easy just to kind of put it off. I feel like it is a short term.
Yeah. You can always say, "Oh, I'll just wait till Monday."
Yeah.
So if every Monday you decide to wait till the next one, it can be a bad habit to get out of.
Yeah. So that is something like I think, and to be fair, like you've said, I've got my first point there was Instagram and reality and stuff, and it's so easy to kind of to wish you had a body of someone on Instagram, you know, but for them they're probably at the gym maybe 8 hours a day, 6 to 8 hours a day.
Yeah.
And
a lot of I mean, and that's one of the things I never really wanted to be a bodybuilder, because the things that a successful bodybuilder has to do to really succeed and win and go all out is that's a boring life.
Yeah.
So anybody that maintains a six-pack all year round is a lot more boring than I want to be. That might be exciting to them, but it's boring to me.
Definitely.
I want to go out and be able to feast every now and then and stuff like that and not work out every day.
Yeah. And just to end every time we end it, we have a section on the podcast called If You Had to Choose Three. So I'll go through some categories, and if you can just pick your favorite three out of them, and we'll see what you kind of come up with. So the first one's favorite, either meals or fast food items. So just three of your favorites.
Oh, okay. Well, you guys don't have Jack in the Box tacos over there, but definitely going to go with those. My favorite fast food is Taco Bell. I don't. It doesn't matter what it is. I just love all Taco Bell. But then, let's see. I'm going to go with the Dairy Queen Blizzard.
Okay. And then the next one we've got is your favorite drink, whether it's alcoholic or not, whichever be your go-to three.
Yingling beer is one of my favorites. I love a good Oktoberfest, and we're moving to Milwaukee, Wisconsin, which has amazing beers. So a lot of the beers that I'm going to be getting up there. And I said all beers, but I'm mostly a beer guy. I'm not really a spirits cocktail guy. I'll take a good Sambuca. I do like that.
Great. And we've got three movies, so either series or movies.
Yeah. A favorite movie, and it'll never change, is Forrest Gump. I love that movie. Shawshank Redemption is a great one. And then I'm going to go with Over the Top for number 3.
Okay. And the last one is, if you had to pick 3 destinations that you could visit kind of tomorrow, any 3 that you were favorite?
I would go back to, you know what? I'm going to go to India.
Okay.
I was about to say Greece because of how beautiful it is, but I'm going to make Greece number 2. India is crazy. Well, actually, let's say Pakistan, because then I would be able to add another country to my list. But I'm sure it's just as crazy there. It's nuts. The world is very different over there. So the 3 days I was there definitely opened my eyes up to the craziness of what India and that whole area is like. But then, yeah, I would say, well, no, I mean, I'm not going to say places I've been before. But if I could go back to anywhere, it'd be like to Greece or any of those just beautiful places with Mediterranean food. I've already been to Greece, so let's say Turkey. I want to go to Turkey, and then for number 3, I'm going to go with Antarctica.
Okay, amazing.
I've never been, so I don't know that many people at all that are able to say they've been to all 7 continents. So I want to go there. But then as far as with food challenges, my number ones are South Africa, and I want to go to do a Scandinavian tour.
Amazing. So at the end of every podcast, we just kind of, as the outro, if you want to just either have a message to the listeners or for kind of what's coming up for you and what to check out or anything like that, however you want to end it, it's your call, Randy.
Oh, let's see. Well, first of all, if anybody wants to watch any of our videos, any of the food challenges, we post new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Over there, I think it's like 9 p.m. or something like that, maybe 10. But for us, it's a little earlier in the day. But let's see. If anybody's got any food challenge questions, be sure to go to foodchallenges.com. And then our new randysantel.com website posted today too. So check that out if you're interested. But I would just say everything that I've got now, I started 11 years ago, and it didn't all happen in one day. It was just a gradual process, continually trying to wake up the next day a little better than you were the day before. And the amount that you can do in 11 years will definitely surprise you. So you can't expect to achieve. There's no elevator to take you to the top.
Yeah, amazing. So that'll be the
kind. You got to take a step each day.
That'll be the kind of the end of the podcast. So thanks for coming on, Randy.
Hey, no, I appreciate your long time support. I know we've been messaging back and forth for years, so I appreciate all your time and thanks for having me on. This has been fun.
No problem. So thanks everyone for listening.